spin up.
Spin up, it's spinning.
All right. Spell your first name and last name for me.
No, my name's Billy, B-I-L-L-Y, Van Winkle, V-A-N-W-I-N-K-L-E.
Okay. And where are you from?
I'm from Walika.
Okay. So, kind of, take me through that little story. You worked in a plastics plant.
Yeah, I went to work with my dad.
I'm sorry, let me interrupt. I'm having trouble focusing. Can you look right at me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry guys. All right, we're up now.
Okay. So, take me through your first career phase.
I went to work right out of high school with my dad and worked in a plastics plant for 13 years making stretch film. And a couple of years ago I got sick and had some medical problems and had to kind of revamp what I wanted to do because physically I couldn't do what I had done before. So I came here to get an associate's degree in education and move on. But while I was here, I started getting on the website and looking around, and I went to some workshops and found the engineering, civil engineering and surveying and stuff. And I remembered as a little boy always seeing those guys out there surveying. I thought that was pretty cool, so I looked into that, and so here I am doing that.
That's great. Well, what did you like about it?
I hate to interrupt you again. You're twisting back and forth.
Oh, okay.
It is. It's a subconscious thing.
Sorry.
Okay.
All right.
So, what did you think was interesting about that? And now that you're actually kind of learning about it, is it even more interesting?
Yeah, just being outside. Love to be outside and seeing them on the sides of the highways and stuff, and with their equipment. And now coming here and getting to use it and actually getting to see it, not just read about it in a book, and it's pretty cool. I like it.
Is that one of the draws of why you came to Okmulgee?
No, not to come here first, but when I was here to stay, because I was going to transfer out and go somewhere else, and I decided to stay and go through this program, and so.
No, why did you choose it initially? Because it was a good school.
I like the school. I like the teachers. The class sizes are good. You always hear about the big colleges where you got 300 people in a room, and you may or may not ever get to speak to your instructor. So here you get that one-on-one that you might need, and
good experience, class size.
Yeah.
Okay, now from your perspective, after working for 13 years, do you feel like what's your go-round with school this time? I mean, are you more focused than?
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect when I came back, but I'm married with a family, so I'm not going out and doing other things at night. So I stay pretty focused with my work and get it done, and just try not to procrastinate. And I've done all right. I'm making good grades. So.
And what do you want to do with your civil engineering?
I like the drafting and design side of it. I really do. I like the surveying, so maybe something where you get to do a little bit of both, and maybe work for Oklahoma Department of Transportation or somebody like that, and design, draft and design.
Excellent. And just about this class in particular, do you talk about what you like about this class? And I mean, the equipment's very cool, and working with that. Just kind of talk about how do you like surveying?
I like it. I like being able to get outside and not be in here all the time, and go out and use the equipment and learn how to traverse and do different things and all the aspects of surveying. And so that's what I like.
Great. Good.
Right.
Great. Thanks, guys. You did. All you did great. Some important equipment. How do you like it both in front or?
Doesn't matter.
How about a little bit both sides in front?
It's getting cut off on Friday, so.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so pretty. But I know how you feel. But you're gonna feel kind of. How short are you going?
Probably longer than yours, but the shoulders.
I always kind of freak out at first.
I cut it short and I grow it long. Cut it short, grow it long. Always something different.
Okay, rolling. Okay, just look at me. We'll talk. And you're Jennifer Butler.
Mm-hmm.
And list off the classes you teach.
So far, I have taught statics, strengths of materials, structural analysis, reinforced concrete, steel design, transportation, FE review, what else? Thermodynamics this semester, and I may teach dynamics next year, and that may be it.
So, like, okay, for the purposes of just a little bit of background with you, you come from industry, and just kind of give me a brief synopsis of your history up to this point here.
Starting with,
well, like, where have you worked before? Just briefly.
Okay, after graduation, I actually only worked one place. I went to the Benham Companies, and I worked there for 6 years. I started out in the civil design group, designing bridges, and they ran out of bridges shortly after I was hired. So then I moved into the facilities group and worked mainly doing building design. So for 6 years, I mostly did building design, and I worked a little bit with the industrial group on some towers and guide tower kind of things, power towers.
So do you have a degree in, did you get your degree in?
I went to the OSU main campus in Stillwater, and I got my bachelor's and master's degrees both there in civil with the emphasis in structures.
Okay, so why come to OSUIT and teach?
In school, when I was in college, I was a teaching assistant and then a graduate assistant for the last 3.5 years that I was in school. And I loved teaching, but I didn't necessarily want to get my PhD. So this fit was perfect for what I was looking for, being in the classroom and getting to share my knowledge from industry and the education aspect from what I got in Stillwater, and being able to pass that along and still be in the classroom without actually having to go on and get further education myself.
And you know, part of the reason for this whole video series is to showcase how special this campus is in its technology that's available. Can you kind of talk about the support from the sponsors and everything, that, you know, these students have the best equipment to work with, and it's very hands-on?
That's one thing I like better about this school as opposed to the main campus in Stillwater, is because our students do get such a hands-on experience in concrete class, getting to physically make the concrete samples and test them, getting to use the equipment behind me, testing for strengths of materials. In steel class, we look at welding examples, and so it's a lot more hands-on, and that's something that you just don't get at bigger schools. And small class size helps accommodate all of those.
Okay, and a little bit about so when you were with the students the other day, can you kind of talk about some of the big aspects of, like, when you start, you know, if you're going to become a licensed civil engineer, you know, what are the milestones you have to go through from beginning to the end?
Well, one thing I like about civil engineering and that drew me to the field was that it's so diverse. So as you go along your college career, you'll have classes in environmental, you'll have classes in structures, and those are the ones that I am mainly focused on. You have some project management, you have a little bit of engineering economics, but there's geotechnical, structural, transportation, project management, and you go along these lines of classes, and the more classes you take in those lines, the more complicated they get. And upon graduation, then towards the end of your career, you can take your fundamentals of engineering exam and become a EIT, an engineer in training, and get your first license. And then after going to work in the industry, you can, after 6 more years, you can take your PE and become a licensed engineer.
Okay. And what does PE stand for?
Professional engineer.
Okay, because that other guy said that, and I was going to find out what that was. Okay, now the math is real heavy, and I know calculus plays, but you know, one of the great things I think that maybe you implemented is work to implement is applying the mathematic principles in real life. And does that, how do you do that with the students? Why do you think that's important, and does that help them understand it better?
Well, at bigger schools, a lot of the classes are very theory and calculus based. And what we try to do is take what that calculus means and apply it to real life examples. And that's just part of getting your applied degree that you get here. It's so hands-on that we try to take all the technical information and turn it into something that makes a lot more common sense.
Good. And just one final thing, you know, I mean, you said you enjoyed being in the classroom, and you just kind of give a general comment about how, you know, the students, how you see these students come through, and being a teacher is all about, you know, helping others, and just how does that reward you?
It's really nice for me because you see them come in, well, I see them come in statics first, and then you get to follow them through strengths and structures, and you really get to know them, and you see some get married, and you see some have kids, and you see some get new jobs, and a lot of our students work and go to school. So you really get involved with their personal life as well as their educational career, and it's really rewarding to see students and get to follow them as they go along that journey.
Wonderful. Good.
Hopefully I can measure up to the backdrop.
Okay.
Or I can rely on that to average out.
Yeah, I think you're going to be great. Okay, Tracy, I am rocking and rolling.
Okay. Now, just a little bit of your background, just so I know for the script purposes. You know, you've worked in the industry for a long time, and you have a lot of experience. Can you just kind of, in a nutshell, tell me what's brought you to this point in your career?
Okay, what brought me into the surveying industry is brought me into the surveying industry is when I got out of the military. Being a Vietnam veteran, they always try to acclimate you to something you do in civilian life, and they looked through my various MOSs, military occupational specialties, and one of them was being an artillery forward observer, and the closest civilian occupation that was a map draftsman. Well, I'd taken map drafting in high school, so I applied for a job, started working as a drafter at the Tulsa Metropolitan Area Planning Commission, and I saw they had me redrawing these plats, these maps that were done by surveyors. And I looked and I thought, I should be able to do that. So I went and applied for a job with a civil engineering surveying firm, and they started me off drafting, but then they started sending me out as a replacement in the field as a surveyor. And from there, you know, I started going to school part-time. I was the first person in my family to go to college, and I never really dreamed of graduating. So I kind of jumped around from classes I thought that would help me, civil engineering classes, surveying classes, and construction classes. And one day I realized I was close to having an associate degree. So, but then I continued on and worked in the civil engineering industry and surveying. As I progressed, you know, I got in a management position, supervising civil engineering design and drafting and managing survey parties, and took the professional license examination, and I've been involved in both civil engineering and surveying. People know me for surveying, and I just have a passion for surveyor education.
Okay, good. And that leads me to my next question. I'm going to ask you though. You don't want to pick up that cord.
Oh.
And I know it's just right there, and it's kind of a subconscious thing, but I think it probably comes through the mic. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, but.
Do we need to do that again?
No. Your passion though for surveying and being a part of that the whole. I mean, it's such a broad. I mean, it's the land we live on and we build on, and it's just it's easy to understand that passion. How do you translate that to your students now? You're able to bring up this whole new generation of surveyors.
Well, you know, people in day-to-day life, when they think of a surveyor, they think of someone sitting out in the middle of the street holding a red and white stick, and they have no idea as to what a licensed professional land surveyor is. But a surveyor is a partner in the land development industry. We work hand in hand with civil engineers, architects, and title attorneys. As a matter of fact, civil engineering is a child of land surveying. George Washington, the father of our country, was a land surveyor. And as surveying progressed and the technology increased, they branched out and surveying became a separate discipline. And surveyors are not known by the population of what they do, but we do work very hand in hand with civil engineers, and we are not their subordinates, we're their co-partners. But very often a licensed surveyor will be working with a civil engineer because in land development, the subdivision plats have to be done by a professional land surveyor. The basis of a civil engineer's project is the land that the property is built upon. and the surveyors locate the boundaries, do topographic surveys, gather the information for the basis of the civil engineer's design. And one of the things that I'm very excited about with our program here is that we are educating young people that are very enthusiastic about surveying, and there are so many opportunities for young people. Every year the Oklahoma Society of Land Surveyors has an annual convention, and I guess it was about 4 years ago, we took kind of a thumbnail survey of our population, or the licensed members, and we found out that the average licensed professional land surveyor was in their mid-50s, and we did not have the young people in the numbers we needed to walk in our footsteps. And so that's why I'm excited about this program. A lot of people don't realize that a bachelor program even exists in Oklahoma, but it does here at this campus.
You mentioned technology. I mean, the strides in technology for surveying across the decades are phenomenal, but no, why is it? Let's wait till they come downstairs. But what I want you to say is, like, you know, why is it an exciting time to get into it? I mean, it's more exciting than ever with the technological advances, and then the equipment that these kids have to work with is top tier.
Still some more people?
That was it.
No, it wasn't.
I can tell the beats
Yeah, I'm
now.
glad you can. I'm rolling now.
One of the things very exciting about me in the surveying profession today, it has changed so dramatically. When I got into the business almost 40 years ago, we were using conventional surveying instruments that was the same technologies as the 1940s. And civil engineering was moving up in technology, but things in surveying did not change that much. But come over the early 70s, there were dramatic changes brought on by the computer age. And whereas when I started, we used surveyor's chains, we used transition levels, and we had to take all our measurements either using a tape, a chain if you will, or a measurement method called stadia, which was very not real accurate as far as distance, but it was suitable for what we were doing at the time. Well, with the advent of the computer, the surveying industry changed dramatically almost overnight. I mean, one day we're working with 1940s technology, the next day it's the early 80s, and we're using a surveying instrument that has a laser in it that measures distances for you. We have GPS global positioning satellite surveying instruments that we can set up on a site, and they interface with the satellites we had orbiting Earth. The United States has got 25 satellites that were put up initially for military communications purposes, but they come to realize that would be a great tool for the surveying industry to use. And so now we can use those. And we have an onboard computer that works either with our total station surveying instrument, which replaced the old transit, or our GPS surveying instruments. And those GPS surveying instruments are taking readings for at least 3 different satellites, and are telling us where we are both in the X, Y, and Z coordinate planes. And it dramatically increased the accuracy and the speed of the surveying operation.
Can you kind of talk about the equipment that you're using for these students? You know, that the industry is real supportive of this institution, and talk about they're lucky to get this hands-on experience.
Okay. I'm really grateful to the people that work with us in industry as far as our educational system goes here. TopCon gives us tremendously discounted prices on, you know, state-of-the-art surveying instrument. Carlson Software, who is one of the top 3 civil engineering surveying software vendors in the United States, has donated $250,000 worth of software that we use in both the civil engineering and surveying programs. And with the top technology of those state-of-the-art surveying instruments we get from TopCon, we can record information in the data collector. we bring it into the office, we connect it to a computer that has the AutoCAD drawing engine with Carlson's software working inside, and it takes about half of the time away that it normally took for a drafter to draft a survey from what the surveyors had done in the field and record it in a field book. Besides the people that have contributed to us as far as technology, there are consulting firms that have just spent time with us. Oklahoma Department of Transportation has been very generous in sending their director of surveying to help with learning some of the new technologies, talking to our students about the opportunities for working with the Oklahoma Department of Transportation. The Bureau of Land Management, the organization that is in charge of all the public land surveys in the United States, hires our surveying students as summer interns, as does ODOT, and gives them a great opportunity to work with those organizations. And the smaller surveying companies have really reached out. Bennett Surveying Company in Soto, Oklahoma has come down, helped talk to students about job opportunities, about using different software, different surveying instruments. They've just really been great. And White Surveying Company is the single oldest surveying company in the state of Oklahoma, has come down a number of times and brought down their collection of antique surveying instruments and give the students the opportunity to see how fortunate they are to use the instruments and tools we have today.
Excellent. Very cool. Okay, well, I think...
Am I talking too fast?
You're doing great. I'm trying to think if industry needs trained surveyors. It's a great place to learn it, and it's kind of just like a, if you're, the students are getting a great education here.
Okay.
It's about the need for the surveyors out there, and how this is the place to get the education.
All right. I want to be sure and bring in that there's very few women in profession, and it is a profession that's very much open to anybody. All righty? Are you ready?
Yes, we're ready.
Right.
Today is probably the best time that someone could think of getting into the surveying profession. And this campus has got the associate degree program, which is civil engineering / surveying, plus they have the opportunity, if they choose to go on and get a bachelor's degree. There is a tremendous shortage of licensed professional land surveyors, and there is so much work that's available. One example of that is the Bureau of Land Management is in charge or responsible for all the survey work that's done on the Indian properties. The Bureau of Indian Affairs works with BLM, but they have so much work in the state of Oklahoma that they can't get enough people to do it. So they've created a program called CFEDUS, Certified Federal Surveyors, and a professional land surveyor can go through a program for that, and then he'd be licensed to do survey of the Indian properties and Indian lands. This is Oklahoma, and one of the things that we're really short on is lady surveyors or women surveyors, and there's no reason why a woman cannot function as well, if not better than a man, in being a professional land surveyor. I personally only know of 3 women surveyors, and they are just top notch in our profession.
Yeah, that's good.
Good.
We can choose.